And welcome to Decker Tech. Today's deck is Devotion to Nyx. This is a mono blue devotion deck. The entire goal is to kind of combo win in one turn where we get a critical mass of devotion so that we can tap our Nyx Lotus for absurd amounts of mana, use that mana to draw absurd amounts of cards, use those cards to untap the Lotus and repeat the cycle until the point that our deck is smaller than our Devotion of Blue, because the Thassa's Oracle says if your Devotion of Blue is larger than your deck size, you win the game. So the goal is to just kind of get a critical mass of devotion and then win outright. Now we only have one Thassa in the deck to kind of flicker our Thassa's Oracle in case we've played both of them for some reason. I'm tempted to take the Thassa out again. It's really a love-hate relationship with me and this Thassa. We do have the sprites to counter early plays. Our opponent goes first, so I say early plays means on their turn 4 is when we can counter stuff, so it's actually no good for us right now. This is more of a devotion-centric card than anything. We have turn 2 Sprite, turn 3 hold up a counter spell, turn 4 Lotus. I think I'm going to keep it anyway because we could have a worse hand. I may regret that in the near future. Okay, already regretting. Yeah. Hypnotic Sprite does not block well a 1/1, does not block well a 5/5, and our opponent is going to have some Brazen Borrowers or Stomps of their own. So far they're just Simic. Okay, we did draw an Oracle, we're happy to see that. What are we looking for on top? Just probably another land. Manifold Key untaps the Lotus, but we already have 2 Lotuses in hand. We don't have ways to untap it, so right now this is not looking our favorite opening. The goal is to have a way to spend the absurd amount of mana that we make, but right now we don't really have any absurd amount of mana making anyway. So we can keep the Sprite. Most of their spells are 3 or less, so I think we're fine holding up the Sprite, and if that doesn't happen, just Oracle for 1. That seems really bad. Problem is we didn't hit that 4th land. Or we're not going to, like, we're still risking whether or not we hit that 4th land in Lotus. So Lotus gets a lot stronger if we have Devotion on board. So I'm actually fine just rolling out the Sprite. Let our opponent do what he wants. And hope to draw a 4th land, play Lotus next turn, not get blown out of the water in the meantime. Okay. Hypnotic Sprite wouldn't have stopped us from that anyway, but it would. No blocks. We just want Devotion on the board. Don't mind us. Okay, didn't find the land. Do we bounce the Henge now? Probably not. Probably use the Brazen Borrower just to stay alive another turn by bouncing the Lovestruck Beast. Problem is 2 extra mana from the Henge is a big deal. So overall, I think this saves us a turn, just the same as the Lovestruck Beast. But us not finding that 4th land is dangerous. I think we started with 3 lands, so this is not feeling good. So we're not swinging in because really swinging is not our plan, and our opponent doesn't know that we're just wanting to hold our devotion. So we do have to block next turn. We don't have any lands. Game is over. Game 2. Okay, so Simic Adventures. Things we want to deal with. The Henge is a problem. His adventure spells, the ones we can handle with the quarter monitors. The sprites, on the play, the sprites get stronger. Shouldn't have kept a hand with double sprite in it. So what do we put in? Simic means disputes probably are a good idea. Maybe not too heavy on them. I like Erasure if we can go late, but the adventure decks have really cheap mana cost stuff. So I think Aether Gust is fine. We regret putting in both our color hate. On the play, Quench gets better. I don't know if we need to worry about legendary spell. So take out the sprites. Replace them basically with Quench. We can maybe go down one of our combo pieces. Combo piece. Maybe combo piece. I don't know about the last one there. So we got rid of one of our draws, one of our find our lowest. We'll go down 2 of the Lotus. So we have 6 draws, 6 ways to get or try to dig for Lotus, and 6 ways to untap. So, oh, I guess we still have 7 ways to untap. Okay, so maybe we put back in the draw. We have 6 ways to find Lotus. Thassa, I'm not a fan of in this matchup. It's more of a later game thing, and all we're really bouncing are the oracles at the end of the game, or just having a big blocker. Actually, a big blocker might not be a bad idea. I think Thassa comes in just as a big blocker. So we got some counterspell hate. Running out of time. That timer does lie as well. So we'll go down 1 untapper in the Kiora. Call it a done. So just making sure that we can keep his bigger threats off the board. If he has any lucky clovers, that's a big thing for us to hit. I think it's more just big creatures than anything else. Double ley line is bad juju. We would need 2 more lands to play a Cavalier of Gales, and in 3 turns, because we go on first, so that's 2 turns to get the second one, 3 turns to get 2 of them. So 2 of our first 3 cards need to be lands for this to be acceptable. We're not going down to 5, especially if we have 3 lands. So a bounce, a counter, a draw. It's the owl that's out of place here. It does find the Lotus, but I think we'd rather keep everything else. And we'll probably... Okay, we don't have a way to... I don't think we bounce that. It is just putting him back 1 mana. See what he's got otherwise. Yeah. Might just bounce the token, to be honest. Okay, we're going to bounce the Innkeeper at this point, so we can't Innkeeper and Lovestruck Beast. We want something to block these 1/1s, which our Gadwick can do. But I think we hold up a Counterspell / Brazen Borrower. And if he casts something else before the Edge Wall, we'll probably counter the Edge Wall, but if he casts Edge Wall first, we won't have enough. Like Thassa's Oracle, we can only, if he pays, doesn't pay 2. Yeah, need that Gadwick sooner rather than later. Resolve. Don't play your Innkeeper, that's okay. My turn? I'll just start swinging in on you. Gadwick or Lotus? Lotus will tap for 2 next turn. Gadwick is just a blocker, so I think we just want the blocker. X equals 1. Forgot we're on game 2. That game 1 did not go very smoothly. Okay, and he starts playing his 5/5s and drawing cards. So I could play Kiora first. The reason to do that would be to maybe hold up the Thassa's Intervention, but Thassa's Intervention, like, he's already drawing a card from the Edge Wall, so we're just risking it. The Borrower can't block, so it's just swinging in. 3/3 keeping the 1s at bay for a little bit until he gets enough 1/1s that he doesn't care. Because even if we kept up Thassa's Intervention, he has 2 lands. Like, he has 2 mana to pay for the Thassa's Intervention. Okay, milling himself. That part confuses me a little. Not sure what his payoff for the self-mill is. Okay, so next turn, we have to chump block the beast. Or we win, which is an option. Don't anyone naysay me this. So either chump block a beast, or we hold up instant speed interaction next turn to tap him down, or we just try to win. I think we just try to win. So we do that by making a lot of mana, 12, 13, 14, 15, leaving 3 open, means this brings us down to 12, minus 3 to cast him is 9, so X equals 9 is what we can do. Keep the non-summoning set Gadwick. Okay. That did not find us an untap. We will probably still Thassa's Intervention next turn to tap down one of his creatures. Still can't block, so no reason to hold it back. Unless maybe mind games with our opponent. End turn, just discard some lands. So we did go down on untap, so I'm not surprised that we missed it. At the same time. So combat, he wants to go to combat. So we will just Thassa's Intervention. We could Thassa's Intervention and Mystical Dispute our own Thassa's Intervention, so I think that's what we'll do. So I don't know if the game's going to let me do this without holding control, but X equals 0. Confirm 0. So autopay. Tapping down that. Now we'll Mystical Dispute. Are you sure you want to target your own spell? Yes. What were we targeting? We were targeting the right Love Struck, so left Love Struck. We just need to stay alive. That's all we're looking to do. Okay, we still don't know what the reason he's milling himself for, or what the payoff for going Simic instead of, say, Teamer is. Is there a board wipe in our future? So we're going to play the Cavaliers of Gales first, just to increase our devotion so that when we try to combo off, we have a better chance of doing so. Our opponent is not holding up any interaction, so we get to just play our game. So, how many oracles do we have left? We haven't seen an oracle before, right? Just kind of paranoid of that because I messed that up once. So, we can Gales then Oracle, or Oracle then Gales. I think we'll Oracle then Gales. Doesn't matter what we tap down, but we'll just kind of go through the motions there. Thing we want to put on top is a card draw or an untap. So card draw it is. Okay, then the Gales. Meanwhile, just getting our devotion up. Okay, can just put back 2 lands. Still no untap. So 22 minus 3 is 19, minus 3 is 16, so 16. We do have to be decently quick about our turns so that the game doesn't get upset at us for taking too long. Okay, now we're looking for an untap. We found an untap in the monitor. Gadwick kind of slows down our process here. Okay, we found another untap with a Kiora, so let's go ahead and do that. Whoops. I guess we could play the Cavalier first. We have the last Oracle. Our devotion's 12. We just drawn 8 more cards. So let's just start. Make sure we play the untap first so we don't screw this up. Keep the bigger one so we have an untap so we can spend 10 mana at this point. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Yeah. Put 2 lands on top. Okay, so we got 18 left in the deck. We got 15 devotion. So Just have to put a couple more devotion out, play the Oracle, and win. So 18 cards in deck, 17 devotion. Thassa's Oracle is plus 2 more devotion, so this will be enough. And if it's not, and we screw up, then we have Thassa to save our butt. Dude, doesn't matter what we pick, because Thassa's Oracle says win game. Okay, so we're able to combo off. Just had to stall our opponent long enough. We still don't know what their mill strategy is. This game we were lacking on an untap to win a turn sooner, I think is what I recall, so I'm tempted to put an untap back in. Whether that's Kiora or Manifold Key, I don't know. Probably the Manifold Key. Kind of fit it into our spell slinging a little better. The Essence Capture, we can still play in time to stop one of his 5/5s, so I think maybe we bring that in just to be safe. Quenches are still going to be okay. It's whether or not we want the Borrowers. I think the Borrowers are one of our weaker things against an Adventure deck, because guess what? They just get to recast their spells again, so we'll take the Borrower out. Thassa's Oracle, Thassa Deep Dwelling, we're still fine keeping just because she could be a good blocker if we have an Owl out or something. Maybe put another Owl to make that happen, but that seems risque. Risky business. So Monitor blocks the 1/1s. Aether Gust for his just big green meaty creatures. Creatures. The Quenches, maybe not. Mystical Disputes. What kind of blue spells did he cast? These disputes are good for his disputes, is basically what we have him in here for. We didn't see any disputes from him, but you never know what he's going to do. So if you have any disagreements from the sideboard, or if there's any cards you're like, man, why doesn't he have that in your sideboard, go ahead and kind of comment on this video, give me an idea of what you think should be in there, and what decks it goes well against. So not just the deck we're playing against now, but what other decks would it be good against, because the sideboard is all about not just the one game, but the multiple games. So I kept the Behemoth Beckoner when maybe I shouldn't have, but she's kind of a ramp of sorts. So and we got our 4th land, so we're fine. Ditching a land was probably definitely the right call there. Okay, we have an Aether Gust to move a spell, or do we just put the Edge Wall? I think I'm okay putting the Edge Wall to his hand, or the top of his deck, because this is basically just a removal spell, and Edge Wall is a good thing to remove. Because now he can't Edge Wall and do his Lovestruck Beast, if he has one, or which he doesn't have. So Kiora, and then just try to combo sooner rather than later. Opponent's still not showing any interaction, so we're kind of worried about whether he has it and just hasn't drawn it. Lucky Clover, not something we could have gusted, so that's okay. Okay. We'll do the Owl and save Gadwick for next turn. Owl blocks and maybe finds another play for later. Unfortunately, Owl does not trigger the draw card portion of Kiora, which would be a sweet interaction. Okay. Bouncing both our stuffs. Question is, what do we do now? So we have 5. Kiora can make it 6. We can do Kiora and hold up an Aether Gust, or we can just play an Owl. I think we just play an Owl. Finding our Lotus. So we want to be able to play Kiora and the Lotus on the same turn and untap it and use it. So I think we just put in a bunch more Devotion. He is tapped out this turn, and we are worried about another Brazen Borrower fiasco. I don't think we need to draw cards yet. So if we do Kiora, that's down to 3, untap something, untap a land, and play another. So play an Owl or a Lotus. I think we play the Owl. Lotus right now taps for 5. If he bounces it, whatever, we're playing the Lotus. It's a hard decision to make. And we don't care about swinging in. We're never going to win with combat damage. I mean, we are, but that's 1 out of 10 sort of thing. Alright, he's double wishing. So we have to win next turn. Ooh. Yeah, that could be bad. Activated ability of sources with chosen can't activate unless they're mana abilities. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. We're not too worried about that. Not as... I for a second was thinking we can't use our Nyx Lotus anymore, which would be super bad. Right now the owls are free. So this one we're going to hold control, because what we're going to do is we're going to play the monitor, target the Lotus, and the arena doesn't like to do this kind of stuff, but then we're going to tap the Lotus after the monitor is already in play, then resolve the untap. So we got 1 more mana doing that interaction. Now our opponent is out of interaction. So we have 31. 31 minus 3 is 28. Minus 3 is 25. So yeah, we'll gladly go 25 deep. Find ourselves an untap the Lotus, and basically win the game this turn. Okay, found ourselves some untaps. Do we have a corridor monitor? That's one that gives us blue devotion, so we'll do that one. Tapping down his permanents, which is just completely secondary, but something you need to keep in mind for when you do this other times. So we have more untaps. We have 19 in the deck, so I think we just keep untapping the Lotus. We could play Cavalier because we're just trying to get our devotion above 19 at this point. So let's make sure we play this other untapper and not use it, just so that I don't blow up the math. Okay, I'm looking for Cavalier. Sometimes it's hard to navigate this hand when there's so many cards in it. Yep. Make sure we don't deck ourselves, so that's why I'm not doing a big X spell, just because we can get there just with casting devotion and we don't have to worry about doing the math. But I think he realizes that we're hitting the combo again. It was nice of him to let us go this far. Nice of us to let him combo the first time. Like I said, blue, not my most comfortable of decks. We still don't know what our opponent's payoff for being Simic was and milling himself. This is a good deck for if you like nice interactions, if you like just the idea of Nyx Lotus and tapping for a bajillion mana and then using it to draw a bajillion cards. It is a little... The part to balance is the combo side of the deck versus the interaction with your opponent, and when to just hold up counter spells and just keep them off their game long enough for you to just do your combo win. So it's a fun deck. It has a lot of lead up of just doing nothing to suddenly I have one big turn and I'm going to win, but hold on while I go through the motions of it. So it can be pretty stressful for your opponent, or just kind of you're can annoy your opponent a little. So it's not one that I necessarily love for that aspect, but I do love just the interaction of I'm playing this owl that is 4 devotion, which is making my rock tap for more, and I'm tapping, like, we drew 25 cards and got to play. You just grab half your deck and put it in your hand, and you're like, let me fan this out and figure out what I need to do next. But we have, unlike some other like big crazy combos, like we know the plan. We know what we're looking for, so as long as you know how much mana to leave open, how much to tap for, and how much to draw, like, I think it makes it go quick enough, and you can even explain it to your opponent. I'm going to hold up 3 mana for another untapper, and just go dig deep and do it. So, and in person, you're able to interact with your opponent a little more, so that it's not so much just hold on while I go do this in arena and I have to do the interface. Some parts are a little longer, just counting up mana, but that can be fairly quick, and your opponent can help you do that. Like, you know, it can be interactive while you're counting there and watching, instead of just not seeing what you're doing on your side of the board. So, fun deck overall. If you like it, please let me know. What I do is a couple times a month I will pick from the Patreon submitted decks, or build around cards. We'll build a deck around that card or that idea, and we'll test it out. We're not looking for meta decks. We're looking for fun and unique decks. Last week, Plukernos. This week is just the Nyx Devotion Thassa's Oracle kind of thing. So if you want to kind of do that, go ahead, join our Patreon, and that'll be coming soon. You can kind of submit decks, and we'll be able to kind of build around that deck with you or for you, and kind of go out, play the game out against the people. This, even though this wasn't a teamer adventure that we played against, it was still Simic adventure, so it had a lot of the powerful cards in it. So I'm happy that it played well against that. There was some difficult things to kind of navigate there. So we do videos every day. Go ahead, subscribe if you want to see those. Liking the video, joining our Patreon, and subscribing are all ways to keep this channel afloat and going. So if you want to see more content, please do some of that, and I will catch you next time. Peace.